Back on record in C-377-407. Over the break, one of our jurors let Marshal Spies know that it was juror 5, Sydney Stratton, let the marshal know that she knows Mr. Scott, who was the CSA who testified. I don't know any more information about that. I was just going to have her come out and ask her some questions about that relationship, see if it would affect her ability to be fair and impartial, and then if you guys have any questions about it, just I'll give you that opportunity as well.
Yes, Ryan.
Okay, can we get Ms. Stratton in? Randy? No? Okay. For the record, Ms. Stratton has exited the room. You may be seated. Anything else we need to discuss on that issue?
Not from the state. No, no.
Anything we need to discuss outside the presence?
Not from the state. No, no.
All right, we'll get the jurors lined up. And who is the witness that we're going to do next?
Mark Hatten.
Mark Hatten.
Yeah, he's a firearms person.
Okay.
So he should be short.
All right, then as soon as we get the jury in, we'll proceed with that one short witness, and then we'll take our lunch break. You had said there were 6 witnesses you wanted to get on, and we've done 5?
And then 1 in the afternoon.
So the 6th is in the afternoon?
Yes.
Understood. Okay.
We believe you should take most, if not all, of that.
Okay, no worries.
Maybe not. I mean, who knows? They talk all day.
Stand for jury.
So the parties stipulate to the presence of the jury.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, you may be seated. All right, state you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. State calls Mark Hatten.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You may have a seat.
Thank you.
Sir, if you please state your full name and then spell it for the record.
Mark Hatten, M-A-R-K-H-A-T-T-E-N.
Thank you, sir. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Paul.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Hatten, how are you employed?
I'm currently a police officer with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. I was hired in 2007. I also worked as a NIBIN technician within the Firearms Unit of the Forensic Laboratory at the Metro Forensic Lab for 7 years, from 2018 until 2025.
Can you tell us what NIBIN is?
Yes, NIBIN stands for the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network. It's a program that's overseen by the federal agency, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, otherwise known as the ATF. And this is a technology that contains hardware and software that takes high-resolution 2D and 3D images of a cartridge case that has been fired, or a cartridge, that has been fired out of the firearm. It looks specifically at the head stamp area, and I also brought a model with me of a cartridge if the court will allow me to use this and I could also pass this around to the jury so you can get a closer look and see exactly and understand what NIBIN is looking at.
Mr. Hatten, you're getting a little ahead of me, but let's go. No, it's fine. I was going to ask you, what is a cartridge case?
Cartridge case, it's what this is called is a cartridge, and once it's fired, the bullet gets projected out of the barrel, and the cartridge case gets ejected from the firearm, and basically it contains all the components of a cartridge, including the bullet, the cartridge case. Can I use
Yes,
them?
and so it appears you brought a demonstrative. Your Honor,
Yes.
made the witness use the demonstrative for the purposes of explaining it to the jury.
Is it the tube? Yeah, okay, yes, you may.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so during the firing process, when somebody pulls the trigger, this bullet will project out of the barrel, and this is the cartridge case. This is the head stamp area. It can be stamped with the manufacturer of the ammunition as well as the caliber, and this is the what NIBIN looks at, specifically the primer area, which contains a small explosive that ignites the gunpowder within the cartridge case.
And then on the back of the cartridge, you had mentioned that, or the cartridge case, you had mentioned that the strike that causes the explosion to expunge the bullet, is that strike unique or something that you look at in determining whether or not a cartridge has been fired from a similar, the same gun?
Yes, it's unique because during the manufacturing process of the firearm, it has tooling marks and it's hardened steel. This metal is soft, so this comes out at very high velocity. So when that slams into the firearm, it imparts its unique markings from that tooling process directly onto the cartridge case.
Now, I'm going to direct your attention to case number 960907-2063, where you asked to do some work on that case.
Yes, I was.
And is it fair to say that, and the jury's already heard this and they've been received in evidence, that 7 cartridge cases with a head stamp of 140 S&W were recovered from that scene?
That's correct.
And then initially, when this case first occurred in 1996, they were run through the database that existed in 1996. Is that fair to say?
Not in 1996, it was in 2003 because NIBIN was not created. It was a program called DrugFire, and NIBIN actually was implemented in 1997, but of course it takes time to build up the database, so it really wasn't the database wasn't built up until about the early 2000s. So that's when they actually initially entered this cartridge case into the NIBIN system.
So in 1996, it was DrugFire, and then in 2003, it was re-entered into NIBIN. Is that fair to say?
I don't have any knowledge if this was entered into DrugFire.
So we'll focus on 2003, the NIBIN entry. Did the cartridges used in this particular cartridge cases collected in this case match any other cartridge cases that were entered into NIBIN back in 2003?
They did not.
Did they match any other firearm that was recovered by 2003?
They did not.
Now, in 2023, were you asked to re-enter these cartridge cases or re-examine them within the NIBIN system?
Yes, I was.
And that request, I think, was made by Mark DeJacopo.
Yes, it was.
And had technology changed between 2003 and 2023?
Yes, so that 20-year period, yes, the cameras and the resolution has definitely improved over that 20-year time frame.
And is it also fair to say that probably in the intervening 20 years, more cartridge cases and more firearms have been entered into the NIBIN system?
Yes, it's the gold standard of that type of ballistics. So everybody uses it now, and yes, there's millions of images in the database.
And did you actually conduct did you actually look into NIBIN to see whether or not this cartridge case matched any other cartridge case that was entered into NIBIN?
Yes, I entered it into NIBIN myself, and we did a nationwide search, and it looked throughout the entire country. And then the NIBIN results had no associations other to the original entry from 2003.
So what you learn from NIBIN is when you entered the cartridge in 2003, it matched the cartridge you entered in 2023.
That's correct.
But nationwide, it did not match any other cartridge case that had been previously entered into NIBIN.
No, it did not.
Pass.
Anything, sorry, cross-examination, Mr. Smith?
Sir, did you actually look at the actual cartridge casings themselves?
Yes, I looked all 7 side by side, and I screened them and then grouped them into one grouping, which represents one firearm.
All right. And as far as you recall or understand, that the cartridge casings were located at one scene, not multiple scenes.
I didn't look into the case notes. That's to try to keep our distance. We don't do any investigative work at the lab, so we don't want to bias our mind to what was. So I did not review any of the crime scene photos, any of the diagrams. I do not know. All I know is I have 7 cartridge cases. How do they group, and which ones to enter?
Okay. And so out of the 7, all of them look like they were fired from the same firearm.
Yes, they had similar visual characteristics, and I entered one, which I assigned as lab item 1.
I see. So no one of them was different, like indicating maybe another gun was used. All of them were from the same gun.
That's correct.
Right. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further, State?
No, Your Honor.
Any questions from our jurors? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Hatten. You are free to go. You are
Thank you, Your Honor.
excused. That was our short witness before the lunch break?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, sounds good. So at this time, we are going to take our lunch break. During this recess, you are admonished not to talk or converse amongst yourselves or with anyone else on any subject connected to the trial, or read, watch, or listen to any report or commentary on the trial of any person connected with this case by any medium of information, including without limitation, newspaper, television, internet, and radio, or form or express any opinion on any subject connected with the trial until the case is submitted to you. We'll have you guys back here at 1 p.m. for further testimony. Please rise for the jury. For the record, the jury has exited the room. Anything we need to address outside the presence?
Yeah, yes, Your Honor. So we're going to have Robert Ladd testify at whenever we come back in.
Okay, you can all be seated.
And there was this outstanding issue during our gang motion about the term shot caller. Now, in the interim, we found that Mr. Davis refers to himself as the shot caller in the book. I don't know that was pointed out. I had not realized that at the time of that motion, so I certainly failed to point that out. But at this point, the state's going to be asking that we allow Mr. Ladd to use that term. When I pre-trialed him last night, I told him he is not allowed to use it unless the court gives a go-ahead, so he's aware of that prohibition. But I think
Was the idea that he was going to be the one to lay the foundation, that he was the shot caller, that
Yes.
allegedly KPD
Yes.
was the shot caller?
Yes.
So we can use that term and attempt to lay the foundation, and then I guess we can just, at some point, you can approach and say, has that been conclusively established or something?
okay, so I just want to know the
going forward.
mechanism. So I'm not going to have him say it at all, and then I will try and lay the general gang foundation, and then I'll lie the foundation for Mr. Davis's role within the gang, and at that point I'll probably just ask to approach out of an abundance of caution, and then see if the foundation's involved.
Does that work for you, Mr. Taft?
It does, Your Honor. I did have one further housekeeping matter for the shot caller issue.
Yes.
Okay.
The other issue is that we're asking the court to see if we could just exclude putting on the record or publishing to everybody the addresses of my clients in terms of where his family still lives today in Compton. So if we're going to talk about a location, that would just use maybe the street name, something like that, to differentiate between the two.
I think that's appropriate. For
That might be problematic.
not to give the exact address.
So can we?
You can say like the 3600 block, maybe.
Can we I think it's a little complicated because there's a 1405 and a 4. There's two houses on the same block, and so I think if Mr. Sam doesn't object to us just saying that on the search warrants it's listed as Mr. Davis's house without giving the actual address, or Mr. Anderson's or Miss Anderson's house without giving the actual address, I'm happy to do that. Like, I'm not trying to cause any problems. It's just that I don't want the vagary used against us.
Sure. Would that compromise work for your purposes?
Yes, Your Honor, because I think that's all we're asking, is just we just refer to who the house is.
The exhibits themselves that will be admitted list the actual address, but we won't display those portions of the exhibits publicly if that helps.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Yes,
Sounds good. Okay. Anything else on that thing, Mr. Sampson?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything else we need to address in general? Hearing nothing, we'll be in recess. Thanks, guys.
When are we coming back in?